Close. Our next paper outline the psalmist prophecies concerning the Messiah. Psalmist, we have done Micah, Jeremiah, now we are in the psalmist. The Messiah will be betrayed by a cross Friday. The Messiah will be called the Lord. The Messiah will be a king. The Messiah will be exalted and all that. The Messiah will rule from Zion. The Messiah will be protected from his enemies, or he would overcome his enemies. Then you go to 1b. In 1b it says, state the message of Angel Gabriel about the person and mission of John the Baptist to Zechariah. This is during the annunciation of the birth of Zechariah, where the angel was giving about the mission of John the Baptist. So, John the Baptist was to be a son. His name was to be John. He will bring joy and gladness to his parents, and many will rejoice at his birth. He will be great before God. He was to drink no wine. He was to be a Nazarite. He was to be filled with the Holy Spirit from his mother's womb. He would turn many of the sons of Israel to the Lord their God. He was to go before the Lord in the spirit, that is in the power of Elijah. He will turn the hearts of the fathers to their children, that is the disobedient to the wisdom of the just. He was to make ready for the Lord a people prepared. Then you go to see. Give 6 ways in which Christians show respect to places of worship. This one is easy. How? 1. Christians maintain cleanliness in places of worship. They also observe silence in the places of worship. I don't think when you get into the places of worship, especially the church or the mosque, we make noise. Places of worship are treated with relevance. Yeah, whereby in some, shoes are removed. And in others, Christians have to wear decently. Then, order is maintained in places of worship, whereby only authorized people are allowed to talk and make announcements. We got posters and notices or decoration and flowers are put to remind people that they are in a sacred place. There's a constructing special places for worshiping God. That is how we show respect. Then we go to question 2a. We are told to obtain the message of Jesus about John the Baptist. This is found in Luke 7:18 to 37. Luke 7. The message of Jesus. Jesus said that John the Baptist was the greatest prophet. He said that John's mission had been prophesied in the scripture, that John was a messenger, that is, he was a forerunner, he was to come prepare for the way of Christ. John lived in the wilderness. He led a simple life. He said that John was a Nazarite. He ate or drank no wine. The people had accused John of being possessed by a demon. Then we are getting into question 3. Question B. We are getting in question B, and allow me to just read it from the Bible, because I told you as you're doing these things, it is good for you to always refer from the Bible. Then in Luke chapter 8, 22 to 25, we are told to describe Jesus calming the storm, So 22 to 25, it's a very simple verse. That one day he got into a boat with his disciples and he said to them, "Let us go across to the other side of the lake." So they set out, and as they sailed, he fell asleep, and a storm of wind came down on the lake, and they were filling with water, and we are in danger. And they went and woke him, saying, "Master, Master, we are perishing." And he awoke and rebuked the wind and the lagging waves, and they were seized, and there was a calm. He said to them, "Where is your faith?" And they were afraid, and they marveled, saying to one another, "Who then is this, that he commands even wind and water, and they obey him?" Good. So when you refer to the book of Luke, we find that Jesus got into a boat with his disciples, and he told them that they should go to the other side of the lake. So they set off. As they were sailing, Jesus fell asleep, and a storm of wind came down to the lake. The boat was filled with water, and they were in danger. The disciples went and woke Jesus, saying, "Master, Master, we are perishing." Jesus got up, rebuked the wind, then the lagging water, all the waves. The storm subsided and ceased, and there was a calm. Jesus cursed the disciples where their faith was. The disciples were afraid and they marveled. The disciples wondered who Jesus was. Even the wind and water could obey him. Good. Then see part of it. Give 7 reasons why Christians should have faith in God. What is faith? Faith is believing in something or someone. So believing in something that you have not seen. So why do you have faith in God? 1. God fulfills the promises he makes to human beings. Very true. Faith is a requirement for all Christians. As a Christian, faith is necessary. Those who pray in faith receive their request. A Christian is dependent on God for all things. Faith is a sign of commitment to God, and it helps us to grow spiritually. It is through faith in God that Christians can perform miracles. Christians who have faith in God can be saved or healed. Faith in God helps Christians to overcome temptations. Faith in God enables the Christians to wait patiently for the second coming of Jesus. Then you go to question 3a. Outline the teachings of Jesus on how Christians should approach God in prayer. This is from 2 work. How Christians should pray. How do you approach God in prayer? There's the adoration, the whatever, the act thing. So prayer should be addressed to God the Father. Remember when the disciples asked Jesus how they should pray, he taught them the Lord's Prayer, whereby they were addressing prayers towards God, the Father. One should go to a quiet or a sacred place. As you are praying, you should be in a quiet place. A Christian should be specific. You should be precise about what you are praying for. One should have faith. You should pray having expectations. One should be persistent in prayer. One should praise and honor God when praying. One should confess his or her sins. One should forgive others when praying. One should ask for his or her needs in prayer. A Christian should approach God with humility. One should pray for God's will to be done. Then we go to narrate the parable of the persistent widow and the unjust judge. This widow who always woke up and went to the judge, asking for the judge to. So we go to Luke 18, 1 to 8. This is the parable of prayer. That there was a judge. So let us read from Luke 18, 1 to 8. And he told them a parable to the effect that they ought always to pray and not to lose heart. He said, in a certain city there was a judge who neither feared God nor regarded man. And there was a widow in that city who kept coming to him and saying, vindicate me against my adversaries. For a while he refused, but afterward he said to himself, though I neither fear God nor regard man, yet because this widow bothers me, I'll vindicate her, or she'll wear me out by her continual coming. And the Lord said, hear what the unrighteous judge says, and will not God vindicate his elect, who cry to him day and night? Will he delay long over them? I tell you, he will vindicate them speedily. Nevertheless, when the Son of Man comes, will he find faith on earth? So, this is the parable of prayer. And there was a judge who neither feared God nor regarded man. There was a widow who kept on coming to the judge to settle a case between her adversaries or enemies, and the judge at first refused to grant the request of the widow. The widow did not give up. She persisted on her request. The judge was afraid of getting worn out by the widow's insistence. The judge finally accepted to grant the widow her request. Jesus said that God would vindicate and grant the request of those who pray to him persistently. Jesus said that God responds to those who pray to him in faith speedily. Then you go to see. Give 7 reasons why Christians find it difficult to pray. 1. This is due to lack of faith or trust in God, tiredness or laziness. We have lack of time or busy schedules. There's the frustrations or bitterness, ridicule, discouragement from others, sinful living, lack of conscience, unanswered prayers, lack of knowledge in scriptures. There's the fear of people, too much wealth or poverty, poor role models, lack of training. Explain how the celebration of the Lord's Supper was misused at the Church of Corinth. The Lord's Supper, that's the Eucharist, the Holy Communion. 1. They ignored the significance of the feast taken as an ordinary meal. They could take it as just an ordinary meal. This feast led them to drunkenness and disorderliness. It did not unite the believers. It created division in the church. It led to the oppression of the poor Christians, whereby the rich showed off. They took it when they were unworthy. They did not seek God's blessing. Be part of it in question 4. The Israelites were the people of God in the Old Testament. St. Peter reversed the idea of the people of God in the New Testament, outlined the teachings of the people from 1 Peter 9, 1, 9, 1 Peter 2, 9 to 10. 1 Peter 2, 9 to 10. These are the people of God, the chosen people, the believers are the chosen people, they have been selected. They are a loyal priesthood. They are to serve the greatest king. They are the holy nation. They are expected to lead a righteous life. They belong to God, so they form the family of God's own possession. They are to declare the wonderful deeds of God. That is to lead a life of worshiping God and testifying about God. And then they were called from darkness to light. Their lives have been transformed that they should not be dominated by evil. They were once not a people, that is, they were living outside the covenant way of life. They are led by the mercies of God, or they have received God's grace. See, how do Christians identify themselves in the society today? Christians identify themselves in the society today. How? 1. Christians wear specific designs of clothes, and that is why you find that some Christians wear long clothes, others they wear uniforms. Those are special designs. They abstain from eating some kinds of food. There are those Christians who don't eat pig. By carrying or wearing the rosary, the cross, the flag, the badges, and the rings, I think you have seen people, especially the Catholics, they wear the rosary. They have special ways of greetings. Very true. They through making personal testimonies, by owning specific versions of the Bible, through speaking in tongues, the use of specific church designs, use of different titles or names, through ways in which they worship, how they worship God, by residing in secluded homes, especially the nuns, the fathers, the sisters, by observing specific days of worship. You know that there are those days of worship. We have Sunday, others Saturday, others Friday, preaching the good news through the songs of the hymns they sing. Then you go to question 5. Question 5 for Poaga. State 7 similarities between the traditional African and Christian teaching on work. Work, the first thing that you're not supposed to forget is that work was ordained by God. Work goes hand in hand with leisure. There's no work without rest. Work is mainly for the purpose of acquiring basic needs. Work is a duty and it is done in obedience to God. Work in both similarities, and as we are saying similarities, sorry, I've forgotten to say that in similarities I've always been saying that we should always start in both. So as you're writing, start as it is written in both. In both, work is mainly for the purpose of acquiring basic needs. In both, work is ordained by God. In both, work is encouraged after work. Leisure is encouraged after work, that or rest. In both, work is a duty. In both, division of work was encouraged. In both, hard work is emphasized, whereby laziness is condemned. In both, talents and abilities are developed through work. In both, work promotes socialization. Then you go to be part of it. Explain the role of professional ethics in a workplace. 1. They guide the workers on how to relate with one another. They define how workers should handle or relate with their clients. They help to create healthy interaction between the workers. They help in maintaining the standards of the service offered or goods produced in a workplace. They determine how one should perform his or her duties. They help to maintain dignity of the profession. They protect the profession from undue pressures from other interested parties. Then you go to see they help the members of the public to develop trust in the professional. They help to determine the entry requirement qualification needed in given profession. We go to question C. Give 7 factors that a Christian employer should consider when determining the salary of an employee. Conditions under which the work is done. Yeah. Location of the place of work. Yes. The level of education. Age or experience of the employee. The profit or the income of the company. Ability of the employer to maintain or to pay. the payment, the demand of the employee services, comparing other employees in other similar organizations, the risk involved. Question 6. You are taught to identify 7 rights of a Kenyan citizen. 7. You need to have them. Right to fair trial, right to assembly, right to life, health, education, right to vote, right to movement, human dignity, employment, own property, freedom of worship, right to marry, right of association, right to security, right to have basic needs, right to the freedom of speech. Then be part of it. How should a Christian respond when offered a bribe in Kenya today? When you're given a bribe in Kenya as a Christian, how are you supposed to respond? 1. You should not accept the bribe. You should condemn the act of bribing. You should pray for God's guidance. You should pray advise the person not to depend on bribery. You should also think of other 2 or 3 ways on how you're supposed to respond as a Christian. Finally, uh finally, give 7 ways in which the church is reducing poverty in Kenya today. The church encourages hard work among the citizens, which enables them to fight poverty. The church speaks against vices like exploitation of the poor by the rich in the society, which are promoting poverty. The church takes care of the poor by providing them with material possession. The church has established projects that offer employment to members of the society. This enables them to take care of their needs. The church gives out bursaries to the needy children, enabling them to undertake education and get employment. The church is offering subsidized medical services which enhance the economic output. The church is working together with the government to create a peaceful society which promotes economic and social development. The church prays for God's intervention in the lives of the poor, which gives them hope in life. It offers guidance and counseling to the poverty-stricken, thus enabling them to open up to realities of life. And that was the end of my paper.